Hello and welcome to Topham Chats. This week my guest is yet again KillerKel. Hey man, how's it going?
Hey, Top, I'm doing well. How have you been?
Yeah, I've been okay. Been a bit ill, but that's fine. You know, it happens from time to time. So I'm just like, I want to get back into training and running because I know I checked my weight last week and I'm like 74 kilos, which for me is I don't know, like 4 years ago that was where I was. But recently it's been around 65, so I'm like 8, 9 kilos heavier than usual. So
Mhm.
I'm kind of like, I need to lose weight. So I'm trying to enact that change. And that's something that I'm probably going to be like, "Ooh, journals writing about fitness again, because Buff Buddies and then fit for RTX as well. I want to be in good shape for RTX this year because, you know, it's RTX and I get to see a whole bunch of people.
Absolutely.
But yeah, are you going to RTX this year?
I think that I'm gonna end up going. I wasn't originally because I
Yeah.
know that the
Huge book.
GGG have their meetup, and that's gonna be a huge financial expense for me.
Mhm.
But since I do my work for Big Bite, we
Mhm.
figured it would probably be good for some of us to go. So we
Ah,
have we
nice.
already have one of our writers going, and I think I'm gonna be going as well. So I just need to buy my ticket, and I'll be going.
Cool.
So yeah.
Cool. Are you guys like planning to do a panel or anything? Just
I don't think we're doing a panel to
curious.
start this year.
Uh-huh.
But just in case, because Big Bite has had their partnership with RT now for a while in terms of like the art stuff that they do.
Yeah.
And so
Was it
just in
Fan Art
case,
Friday?
yeah, Fan Art Friday, yeah.
I know what's going on.
Yeah. So just in case there's any sort of story or anything, or any kind of big event, or really just for the coverage,
Mhm.
we're gonna have some people there. So I'm
Ah,
probably gonna be one
wicked.
of them. Yeah.
Nice. Cool. Yeah, I can't wait for RTX this year. It's only like 10 weeks away or something like that.
Yeah,
10, 11 weeks.
it's much
It's
closer
way
than you
sooner than
think.
I
Yeah.
thought. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm kind of like, oh, it's actually not that far away. So I finally got my travel booked, and that's all good. So yeah, I'm excited. That's way off in the future. Let's talk about now. What's been keeping you busy recently?
Man, so I have
Mm-hmm.
been playing a large amount of
Uh-huh.
Dark Souls 3.
Oh, nice.
Yes. Yes.
Cool.
And it is great. I
Yeah.
am loving it absolutely. I mean obviously it's a different game than Dark Souls 1 and Dark Souls 2.
Uh-huh.
But I do find that it is a healthy medium between the two.
Uh-huh.
Uh, in Dark Souls 2, I never really liked the combat system.
Yeah, I found it difficult and unwieldy.
It it felt it definitely felt much different coming from one, because if you had the timings of everything,
Yeah.
if you like know when to block, if you know when to roll in Dark Souls 1, it's completely different in 2. And so I
Yeah.
just found that I would turtle in PvE and just like wait for them to hit my shield, and then I would hit them back, and that was it.
Yeah.
um and it's not like that in Dark Souls 3, because if you do that in Dark Souls 3, your guard will get broken, and you'll be in for some trouble. So yeah.
Uh-huh. Ah, crazy. So, is there anything that's like fundamentally changed? I know that there's a mana bar now as well, and I'm sure that was in two. I was thinking about
Uh, I
that.
don't
Was there?
think there was a mana bar in 2 actually. I think it was the same system as 1, where you just had like a number of castings.
Okay.
I think. I never used magic, but I'm fairly certain that's how it worked.
Mhm.
Um, yeah. So in 3 you have your focus meter, which allows you to use weapon arts or spells, and also another name for weapon arts are just skills. So
Uh-huh.
that's that, which are kind of like your special moves. So you have your like mana bar essentially.
Yeah.
Um, and then I would say another big change is that covenants are kind of like on the fly now. You find like covenant items to be in certain covenants, and then you can kind of just change them anytime. You don't only choose one and then go back and change your covenant or anything. You can just be in any covenant. You can invade as any covenant. You can be summoned as any covenant. So it's definitely different.
Cool. There's so much to that game. Like, I was saying to Dom, I was like, I'm considering getting it. He's like, oh yeah, you can just pick out your equipment now. I'd be like, oh well, I'd start with Pyromancer, Flame, and Scimitar, because that's like the moveset I like from Dark Souls 1. And then he's like, Pyromancy's scale with what? Intelligence and Faith now?
It is, yeah. It's
So I was
intelligence and
like,
faith.
well, no, I'll just go Sorcerer then instead, because Sorcerer.
Uh-huh.
Um, So yeah, that's like one of the things that caught me out, and I'm glad I learned before I started playing in any way.
Yes.
But yeah, how is the fighting with a sword kind of thing going? What kind of class are you playing?
So I started as deprived, and
Okay.
I will tell you right now that starting as either thief or deprived in Dark Souls 3 is very difficult, and that's because the armor system is different. I'm not going to go into the details because it's really long, really boring. You can find videos about it if you're interested. But essentially, you will want to have an armor piece in every slot always, just because it gives you a certain level of base defense that you're always going to want, because it'll just always help you.
Okay.
And as deprived, you only have one piece of armor. It's a loincloth. And that's really, really bad.
Okay.
And so you definitely start at a huge disadvantage. You start with the club, which your weapon art gives you more damage, so you can do that at least. But it doesn't compare to the other weapons and having armor and everything. Also starting at a higher level. So it starts out hard. I've heard that Herald is one of the easier classes to start as. So that's a very valid choice.
Oh, if I was not paying attention, I'd have probably picked Thief first, because Thief runs in the original Dark Souls were possibly my favorite.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
have the high dex, and you have the parries and rip off. You have the thieves' knife that has bleed on it, and like all those shenanigans that are going on.
Yeah, I don't think it's impossible, because I definitely did as deprived. If you can do it as deprived, you can do it as thief.
Yeah.
But yeah, just having, I think, the lower armor, and not having like a shield you can actually like learn how to block with and everything, because your shield won't tank your damage at all as a thief. I think it's a small leather shield or one of those, or maybe a buckler. Yeah, so it's not gonna help you that much in that department. But
Extra frames for parrying.
it's true. It's
That's
true.
what it was in Dark Souls 1, so I'm just extrapolating from there. They probably kept extra frames for parrying.
Yeah, yeah, but it's been good. It's been a good time.
How is the tone of it? Is it still as dark as ever? And
I do think so. Yeah. I didn't ever really know. So I would say I got through about maybe a large third of Dark Souls 2. That includes like a little bit of the DLC too. And I'm like, I would say I'm probably like level 90, 100, something like that. So I have no idea if I'm over leveled. Anyway, I never really got a tone like that from Dark Souls 2, just because I never really knew what was going on. The only thing that I ever felt was like kind of depressing was that people in what was the main hub again? Drangelic? I forget the name. I'm so sorry, anyone
I
who
can't
knows.
remember. Jesus.
I know it's bad, right? I think it's like Dragnelic. It's one of those. Oh god, we're butchering it. Yeah. The only sad thing there was that people were like forgetting things, and like there you had like the father and daughter who like forgot each other and all of that stuff.
Yeah.
But here you definitely can see it like all over, and I think it's partially because of the sheer amount of NPCs that you encounter, and just like they're constantly moving forward storylines. It's done really, really well. I would say the NPCs are done best in this game across all three of the past Souls. So I like that. Combat is closer to Dark Souls. It's a good mesh between the two.
Yeah.
You have kind of like a little bit of like slower attack stuff like in Dark Souls 2, like it would just come back slower a little bit times. But I think that's just to kind of get your timing better. Shields are not as effective in this version, just like I said, because if your guard gets broken, you are at a massive disadvantage. So you'll want to be rolling a lot. Losing your stamina is a big thing. But yeah, it's been good. From what I understand, bosses have a lot of like 4-hit combos, and so you have to be careful with that too. And that's another reason why you shouldn't just keep your shield up. You gotta be rolling. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, I like the pace of. Well, I like Dark Souls 1 combat, which is relatively slow and methodical. You can block, attack, move around, do things. But I also liked the insane speed of the Hunter from Bloodborne, and so I don't know. I was kind of like hoping that possibly you can get some like fast characters going aggressive, but that's probably not the way to play it.
I've
Or
heard some
do you
people
think you
mention
can
it.
be like rewarded for aggressive play in Dark Souls? Because in the original one, if you play aggressively and you've not got enough damage on your weapon, 3 hitting something is too many hits.
Yeah, you got
For
to be
sure.
really careful. Yeah. Well, and also in the original, the whole, although I think the poise system was different. Like for example,
Yes.
in 3 and I think 2 had this as well with heavier weapons.
Mhm.
Once you start swinging it after a certain point, you have hyper armor, and so you wouldn't have to worry about like your armor poise as much.
Oh, okay.
But in 1, your poise is a big deal if you want to do like counter hits or anything.
Yeah.
If you want to like trade, and so yeah, but in 3 it's definitely a bit different. You want to be dodging attacks, I'd say, more than you want to be blocking them, although you definitely want to block attack as opposed to taking a hit.
Yeah.
So-
How does it work with encumbrance? So, like in the original Dark Souls, if you are under 25% of your like max equipable value, you could do fast rolls and everything like that. Whereas in Dark Souls 2, they changed it
Yeah.
so that you could do relatively average rolls nearly all the time, no matter what your encumbrance. And then, yeah, I'm just curious, like how that changes, because for me, rolling fast was really nice in Dark Souls.
Agreed. It's
really
it's
nice
one of the
so-
most important thing in the Souls games, and one of the reasons that I've struggled so much in 2 is that I didn't know that you had to put points into adaptability in order to up your roll speed. I had no
Yeah,
idea about
see,
that.
I didn't know that.
Yeah,
I'm just
it's I don't know why that's a thing, but it is, and so that's why I never roll in Dark Souls 2, because I didn't know that, and I have no points in adaptability, and I'm really high level now, so it's gonna take me forever to get up there. Anyway,
It's one of those things in Dark Souls 2. It's just like it wasn't explained, and I didn't
Yeah.
pick it up at that point. And I was trying to play through that game blind as well. And I still didn't make it to the end of the game.
yeah.
Just
So in 3, I went in knowing that the roll system was going to be a little bit different, and so or rather the encumbered system would be a little bit different. And what I encountered was everyone can fast roll, especially okay. So when you start the game, all classes can fast roll, and you can everyone fast rolls until you get to, I believe, 70% encumbrance. It might be 75, but I think it's 70. And what that ends up doing is once you get to lower encumbrance levels, like the further you go down encumbrance wise, the farther your roll will go, right? So you'll still have the same number of iframes, we think, but it's all rolls are fast rolls.
okay.
But your roll will go farther and give you more maneuverability, which I've encountered some of it in PvP, and I would say it's much more preferable. It's nice to have armor, but being able to counter, it's almost like a counterattack in a way, just because you can very strategically position yourself for an attack, and it works out really well.
Nice. So another question about encumbrance, which I know this is thrilling for everyone listening,
I know,
but
right?
it's stuff I
Dark Souls
care
shop
about.
talk.
So, encumbrance, is that a count of everything you've got equipped, or is it everything in your inventory? I don't know if they've changed that at all,
It is
because it's always
everything
been
that you've got equipped.
everything you've got equipped. Okay.
Yeah.
Because you
So,
can carry like a million things apparently, and
Yeah.
you're fine.
They
You're
do
only
have-
encumbrant when you're wearing heavy armor.
Yeah, some consumable items and some like usable items, like firebombs, for example, have a limit to the number you can have. For example, I can only have 40 throwing knives, which are much better in Dark Souls 3, I will say.
Yeah.
They're like really fast and they scale with dex, which is really cool. Anyway, I know
Dex
they're like
builds.
scaling
Dex
for
builds
dex.
are the best.
I know. Whereas firebombs, you can only have 20, but they scale with strength, so that's a thing. It's a little bit different, but it's good. It's good.
Nice.
Yeah.
I have a feeling I'll be picking it up at some point. It's one of the few games I will pick up this year, like for sure, that are new. The other being No Man's Sky, and that's the only one I can think of. What else has happened? There's been The Division's come out, and I was looking at it. I read some things on the Destiny subreddit from people that play both,
Yeah.
and they were talking about how The Division's broken because people playing on PC, there was an exploit in like one of the boss encounters that they put out recently. So then they locked it so that no one can do it anymore. But people found an exploit where you can change your system setting time and go and do it anyway, because it's time locked from a certain time onwards. So you
Gotcha.
just set your system time back and you can go and do it. And it just breaks the game. But then what Massive have said, who put it out, the division out, saying that anyone that's found exploiting this and getting all the high-end gear from there, they're going to get banned and they're going to be pursued. Whereas anything that anyone's done wrong in Destiny, where they've been like, oh no, we've got a bug where everyone's getting super high-level gear, they've been like, oh, well, that wasn't supposed to happen. Have fun exploiting it for 2 days, and then we'll catch up with you after the weekend. When everyone is like, yeah, this is the best! But it's just like, I don't know, like, it's a different way that they're handling things, and apparently the division's in a bit of a state. There's not too much stuff to do at endgame. And then the Destiny's been updated over the past week, and it's made it a thoroughly more even playing field for the casual players to rank up and level up. And there's a few new activities to do, and it's a lot of fun, and I might have spent like 10 to 12 hours playing yesterday, maybe even more than that, I'm not exactly sure. But I did have a good time, and my friends were online all day, so I was just like, oh, I'm just going to play. And I just kept playing, my light level slowly increasing, there was always progression going on, and everyone's just, yeah, everyone I was playing with is just like, the way the loot's set up right now is the best it's ever been, so everyone can get to the top level, and you can customize all the gear that you've got to like how you want it to be. And the fact that loot's dropping more frequently as well is nice, and you can just be like, oh, this is exactly what I've been looking for, and then you can infuse it immediately up to the like level you want it to be, and then that can be your new like your go-to weapon of choice, which is rather excellent. There was a few things that dropped over the weekend that I was massively happy with, and I got a fusion rifle that I'm like, yeah, I can use fusion rifles, but I knew I could use fusion rifles before. But they with the update they made some changes to the weapons, so they increased base stability of fusion rifles, which should fire nice and straight. And they increased the stability so that all the grouping of the bolts that come out, so it shoots 7 bolts, and now they all shoot in a much tighter bunching. And before I was having fun with fusion rifles, and now they're like completely viable to use, and they are so much fun. And I went on like a 7-kill spree yesterday it was this morning in Crucible, where I was just like, haha, fusion rifle, and like I was easily top of the game, and I was like, this is the best because yay. But yeah, they've fixed certain things and aspects of the game, and also, one of the things that changed is, over the past week, like, before, everyone was using very certain weapons, and over the past week, I've been killed with many, many different weapons, which is completely okay with me, that now there's variety in the game. And that's one of the things that's also been a great change that's been made.
Good. Mm-hmm. Yeah, welcome to the We Talk About Game Mechanics in the Games That We Love podcast.
I know, right? Jesus. Yeah. But yeah, and then I've been playing Diablo 3 as well. Like,
yes. How are you liking Diablo 3? It's one of those games that I've been really interested in.
I'm thoroughly enjoying it. I'm playing it on Xbox One. I'm nearly exclusively playing it with Rachel, and it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of, well, we went through the main story, got to about level 60 or so. Then the end game really starts at level 70, where you can start doing a bunch of different things. It gets a bit repetitive, but it's like trying to find the perfect loot and things like that, so that you can max your damage per second, increase all your armor, so you've got favorable stats, so you can access the higher difficulty modes.
Yeah.
And I think we're at a point, we played through the whole game on normal. We've bumped the difficulty up to hard. I started a new character because I'm just like, new character, why not? Started a demon hunter, and I set the difficulty immediately to expert, and it's just a case of knowing when to run away in that game and attack things from a distance. Like, I don't think I'd do very well in expert if I didn't have a ranged character that I could quickly move away from enemies with. If I was using a melee character, it might be a bit more difficult, but at the same time, I might be doing more damage output to the enemies. So I don't really know. But on expert, like, if I was playing with another person, it would probably be fine. But because I'm playing on my own, it can be a bit tedious and grindy to try and kill some of the bosses because they have a lot of health. And I'm only level 10 right now, and it's a bit difficult to just generally get... Just kill things, because it bumps their health up and makes them all more aggressive, so they're constantly running towards you, and puts more enemies around the place as well. So, and like more higher level enemies as well. So you've got like the standard enemies, then you've got elites and other things that are like higher ranking that take more hits to kill. And I spent 5 minutes just killing one of those earlier, which was a pain because they can hit you. But I knew my damage per second was better than my damage and recovery were better than the enemies, so I could just stand in front of it, shooting it repeatedly, and be okay. But yeah, I'm not going to always be able to do that, especially if there's a swarm of them around me. But it's, one of those games where you're just like, oh, I want this because this stat is specifically better than the other one, but the rest of the stats don't matter.
Yeah.
Kind of. It's one of those games where, you're looking at all the stats of the weapons and the armor that you've got and trying to get a good cohesive set that works for you. And it's very, very loot-based, which is very similar. Like, the progression and, like, searching for the perfect loot is the kind of thing that I really enjoy, and I guess the Diablo and Destiny, in that respect, are very good games for me to play, as well as Borderlands 2, which is what I should be going on to at some point soon, maybe, if we get there. But, yeah, that's what it's been.
Well, you should pick up Dark 3 then, Top, because the loot is one of the best parts of that game, man.
Is there more drops and more different things to try out now?
Absolutely. Like, the number of weapons is impressive, and since they have luck as a stat now as well, like, actually, like, your drop rate is like a actual thing. So,
oh, nice. Cool. Yeah. I want to start with, like, a curved sword, because curved swords are, like, my jam.
Yeah, their weapon art is cool, too.
So I'll be, like, totally, when I do start playing it, I'll be like, okay, I'm gonna use some swordy fun times. I'm probably gonna pick it up on PS4 because the PS4 version is superior to the Xbox version, but
Agreed.
I'm probably not certain about how it compares to the computer performance. But I don't have a PC, so it doesn't really matter.
It's all right, yeah.
So yeah, I'm probably gonna go PS4 version for that one, but it's one of those things. And
there
then
you go.
yeah, I'm looking forward to playing it, but it's a while off. I'm glad to like see all the reviews about it being positive and being like, yeah, it's good. But if you look on Metacritic as well, Dark Souls 2 is higher rated than Dark Souls 1. And I'm just like, but it's like universally agreed that it's not as good as Dark Souls 1, but it's higher on Metacritic because it's Metacritic. And I'm just like, I don't know. I just don't know. But yeah. I should try and like, Matt Lees hasn't put a podcast out in a while for Daft Souls.
I think it's been like a week or two, yeah.
Yeah. Has it? It must just not be updating on my app. Oh
yeah, maybe not.
It's been a while since I've heard a podcast from him, but I'd really like to hear his thoughts on it because he's very good at games journalism. Yes. He doesn't really want to be in the. I don't know whether he wants to be in the journalistic world, but he's always like, I like games, and yeah, they just don't talk about the games they don't like, really. And
yeah,
that's the way.
That's definitely how they work. The most recent Daft Souls was 6 days ago. So
6 days ago.
Yeah, we're probably
my app has not picked it up at all. So I haven't heard one for like a month and a half at this point. So I've been concerned that it's not been going on because I knew that they were taking a break for, was it GDC that was recently?
Yeah, but the GDC podcast was like 2 weeks ago. So
then I must have
three probably, like coming up on 3.
Yeah, then it must have been like 5 weeks since I've heard them at all. So I need to hunt those down and listen to them. But that's okay. I've got time at work because I'm working early this week and no one gets in for an hour after I get there. So that's an hour and a half in the morning, like from when I leave my apartment to the hour later when someone gets in that I have to listen to stuff. So I'll catch up on that this week. I know. Amazing. So yeah. What stuff's been going on with the GGG? I see that you've been doing more streams on the thing because you've been playing Dark Souls 3. Have you got any other plans like that are going on, or is there anything just in general going on?
Well, we are still working on our working on our expansion. There you go, words. We are probably going to be coming up with a full-fledged website in the next 2-3 months. And that's going to be probably our new home, I would think. So working on that. servers, private servers for our own use, have actually made some very big progress in terms of development, and that has been done by me. And since I have exactly no idea what I'm doing, the fact that there's been forward progress at all has been a good thing.
Nice.
So that's always a positive. And yeah, we're just we're trying to grow, trying to grab new people. We've gotten 2 new people in the past 2 weeks, which is pretty good for us.
Yeah.
And yeah, so we're just chilling, having fun. We're in Rooster Rumble, so that's good.
Oh yeah, who have you been up against?
We are against the C Squared podcast, and I just left my team because they were playing. And when I left to come record this with you, we were looking like we were gonna win. So I am fairly confident. And thank you to the C Squared podcast guys for their good game. I really appreciate all of their patience and their coordination and everything. It's been really great working with them. But yeah, nice. Just stuff as usual.
Wicked. Well, I guess it's just good guy gamers everywhere to find you, I guess.
Yeah, good guy gamers, the good guy gamers, GGG, that kind of thing.
Wicked. Well, thank you very much again for being my guest.
Of course, it's always a pleasure.
And thank you everyone for listening. Goodbye.
Bye.